Hey folks, how's it going? So I already shot this video once on my GoPro and it turned out like hot garbage. So we're gonna shoot it on my phone and see if the video comes out any better. So one of my viewers actually asked about in one of my last videos about the displays on the different radios that I talked about. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys what the displays look like. Now before I do, let me tell you, we're not going to see a whole lot on the waterfalls or whatnot today. We just had a solar flare and we're kind of under a radio blackout, so there probably won't be much to see on the waterfalls. At the very end of the video, I'll interject some video with the TX500 so you can see what the pan adapter looks like on that. So just be prepared for that. So with that being said, let me kind of get you guys repositioned here. And we will take a look at some of these radios. So the first one we'll take a look at here is the SW3B. This probably has the simplest screen of all of these. So let me go ahead and plug it in and turn it on. All right, so here's the SW3B. Now you're not going to hear anything because this does not have an internal speaker and I don't have an antenna hooked up currently. But this is pretty basic. It gives us up here, it tells us if we're in our memory or our VFO. Currently we're in memory. If I switch to VFO, now we're in VFO mode. You can see we're CW. This is a CW only radio. However, this will receive single sideband. All right, so that's something to keep in mind. We're currently battery voltage is 13 volts. Here's our VFO. We're on 20 meters. That's really all there is to it. That's our S meter down there. That's all there is to this display, guys. There is not much else to this thing. All right, it is very simple, very, very readable, very simple. Again, this is a very simple radio. There's not a lot to it. Okay. So that's what the SW3B looks like. So we'll go to the other simple one I have here. Now let me say this. I'm going to show you the TrueSDX next, and I do not have the beta software on the TrueSDX. The beta software does have a pan adapter. All right, I don't have the beta software on here right now. You're going to get a little bit of weird flicker as the refresh rate of the phone and the refresh rate of the screen kind of match, but you can see, again, very basic. It shows my call sign up here. Here's our VFOA. You can see we're in CW mode. There's our filter width. There's our S meter. We're in receive. Again, real simple, not much to it. All right, we go into our menus and we can scroll through our different menu options, filter width, band, so on and so forth, our tune rate. It's real straightforward, okay? So we can switch through bands by hitting the VFO knob. It's a real simple radio. Like I said, the beta software does have a pan adapter, but it is super slow. So that's something to keep in mind is it will give you a pan adapter so you can see signals on it, but it is dreadfully slow. So that's the TrueSDX. So from there, we'll do the third sort of simple radio display, and that's actually KX2. So let me go ahead and fire this thing up. And this is a real simple radio, all right? It's one of the things I like about this radio, and it's also one of the things I dislike about this radio. It's great because, let me get this tipped up a little bit. We're a little bit tippy here. I don't want the camera to fall over on the radio. Okay, so again, super, super simple. This is probably the most readable display in the sunlight. There are two here that are super readable. This is one of them. Again, real straightforward. We've got our VFO A and B. Here's our CW tuning. My S meter, my SWR meter, my power meter, our filter. We've got Vox on, QSK is on, our antenna tuner's on, our AGC's on fast. We're in CW mode. This is, again, a real simple display. Let me kill the lights, actually. See if we can get rid of that glare. That's a little better. So again, not a lot to this display. Now, it's going to look a little washed out on camera. In real life, this is not washed out. It's very, very clear, very easy to read. For some reason, the cameras don't pick that up real well, and I don't know why. But it's super readable. It gives you all the information you need, nothing you really don't. Now, the one thing I will say about this particular radio is it is a little tricky to do things like hunt and pounce on this because you do have to spin the VFO and listen. You can't see anything on it because there's no waterfall. But again, super easy to read in sunlight. Okay, so from there, we'll get to some of the more complicated radios. So let me hook up the FX4CR. Now I'm actually going to hook an antenna up to this just to see if we can see anything on the waterfall. Probably the only thing we'll actually be able to see is FT8, and there won't be much on FT8 even because, again, we are under a radio blackout. Let me grab coax here. Hook an antenna up to this bad boy. Now, this screen is not going to come out on camera as clear as it is in real life. In real life, the screen on this thing is absolutely razor sharp. I mean, super, super crazy sharp, okay? So here's our VFO A and B. Over here is our filter. There's our battery voltage, our RIT, our side tone volume, our side tone, our key speed. It tells us we're in CW mode, we're on VFOA. Our volume is 18 here. Again, it's going to be really, really hard to explain how sharp this display really is. It does not come out on camera. It is crystal, crystal clear. Let me turn the VFO up a little bit and we'll see if we can see anything. So let me turn the attenuator on. So that's all there is for FT8 right now. Just that little tiny bit of stuff. Normally FT8's crazy. That's how bad this radio blackout currently is, that it's killing FT8. But you can see the FT8 on the waterfall. We got 1 or 2 strong signals on there, okay? Oh, actually there's something else over there. I don't know if that's a CW. That looks like CW. Let's dial down and see if we can hear anything. Okay, so we've got some CW going on there. So that kind of gives you an idea what the screen looks like on this. Again, it does not come out in video. It's not washed out like this. It is very vibrant. It is super, super sharp, crystal clear. For some reason, these just don't come out well on video, but that's the display on. See if I can get the camera to cooperate a little bit here. No matter what I do, it's going to be ugly. But again, this thing is super, super, super crisp in real life, okay? So that's the FX4CR. The next one I think we'll take a look at is the G90. Now this one's going to be a little tricky to do. I'm going to have to do this one by hand because I can't, there's no way I can get this mount. I've got my camera in over to the G90 easily, so we'll hold you. So the G90 display is about the same size as the FX4CR display. Again, it's super, super clear in real life. It's not as clear here as it is in real life. But again, we've got our mode, our antenna tuner. There's our VFOs. I apologize for how shaky this is, but again, I had to take it out of the holder. Here's our voltage. Here's our filter. Again, here's our waterfall. This has a full waterfall on it like the FX4CR does. Let me dial up towards FT8. So you can see FT8 on the G90. The G90's waterfall tends to display things higher than most other waterfalls do. Again, it's super, super clear. This probably is a little easier to read than the FX4CR is. The FX4CR is a little brighter. But the G90 is very, very readable. There's a lot of information on this little tiny screen. There's your FT8 waterfall right there next to my, you can see it right there. So that's the G90. So the last thing I'll show you is the TX500. Now, understand that the TX500, and I apologize for my hand being in the way here. Like I said, this is not an optimal setup, but this is what I had to work with today. We'll do the TX500 last here. The TX500 has a pan adapter. It's a monochrome pan adapter, but it's super readable in the sun, which is one of the things you'll find is a problem with the color waterfalls. They're gorgeous to look at indoors. They are hard to read in the sun quite often. So that's something to consider. If you're going to be operating outside a lot, especially if you're going to be in the sun, some of these gorgeous color waterfalls are not the greatest screens to use. So here's our waterfall on our pan adapter on the TX500. So up on top we've got some menu functions. So currently there's our noise reduction, noise blanker, notch filter, the squelch level, our AGC level, our voltage. You can see we're on VFOA, CW. There's our filter width. There's my different options that are currently turned on. So I've got Vox, the monitor, and the noise reduction on currently. Here's our S meter / power meter. You're not going to hear anything because I don't have a speaker hooked up to this. Like I said, this does not have an internal speaker. So that's something you've got to keep in mind. You're not going to hear anything. You can see there's FT8 right there, and there's a little tiny bit of action going on here, but not much. Down in this blank bar, I would normally have CW decode coming in, but because we don't have any CW signals, it's not decoding. I can turn that off, so it's just straight pan adapter also. In fact, let me do that. Let me see. We're currently in, let me find that selection here. So we'll scroll through all our different menu options. The menus on this thing are very easy to use. Let's see. So where's our CW decode? Where are we? Let's see. Where is it? I know it's here someplace. Oh, there it is. So we'll turn that off. So we'll turn our CW. Now you can see that bar went away, and now we just have the straight pan adapter. So there's FT8. Looks like I've got a couple of CW signals down here a little ways on the screen. I will, at the end of the video, don't leave until the very end, because I will throw in some footage I took during field day on the 40 meter band, and you will see what this looks like when there's a lot of activity going on. There's not much going on right now. Like I said, we're kind of under a radio blackout. But when you see what this looks like with a bunch of signals on it, you'll understand. So again, super readable in the sun. The most readable in the sun are going to be this guy and the Elecraft. All right, these two radios have the best screens for the sun. Okay, the color waterfalls are the nicest to look at and give you the most information. They're great here in the shack. In the sun, they'll wash out. They can be a little slow to respond. Now, the G90 is not. The display on the SW3B and the TX5, or I'm sorry, and the True SDX are very, very easy to read also, even in the sun. Like I said, the ones that really aren't are the G90 and the FX4CR. But if you want something for the field, these two radios, the KX2 and the TX500 really are sort of the cream of the crop. So like I said, I'll throw in some footage here in a minute of what this screen looked like during field day, so you can see what it looks like when you got a bunch of signals. So with that being said, stick around and watch that. That's only a few seconds long. It's probably like 40 seconds long. But I really appreciate you watching. I hope this answered everybody's questions. If you want to see anything else, if you have any more questions about any of these radios, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Again, thanks to Chris Smith for mentioning this. This is something I probably should have done in the original video, and I appreciate him pointing that one out. So if you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching. Like I said, stick around to the very end so you can see the footage from the TX500. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and 7-3. All right, I figured I'd shoot this for you guys who aren't on the East Coast and don't see how ridiculous this gets. I just came inside from outside, and I figured I'd shoot a video real quick so you guys could see what this looks like. I'm not making any more contacts tonight, but I just wanted to scroll through the band so you guys could see what 40 meters looks like here on the East Coast. I mean, that's literally signal. I mean, you hardly even have to move the VFO. Signal after signal after signal. It's insane. The whole band is like that. Just as far as you can see. It's absolutely insane. Like, just complete insanity. It's crazy. Like, no matter where you go, it's packed.